This episode is brought to you by CoolStuffInc.com, the #1 seller of games and gaming accessories. And GatheringMagic.com, the #1 resource for Magic the Gathering news and articles.
Hi, my name is Hugh, and this is my Hazezon Tamar deck. Alright, this is my Hazezon Tamar deck. I would like to start off by saying there's a lot of debate whether Rith or Hazezon Tamar is a better token general. I just wanted to cast my vote for Hazezon because this used to be a Rith deck and I changed it to a Hazezon deck. And the reason why Hazezon's so good is a lot of people don't know. I'll explain his abilities. His two abilities are, when he comes into play, you get tokens equal to the lands you control at your next upkeep. And when he leaves play, you remove all Sand Warriors from the game. What the really relevant part is you get the tokens on your next turn. So you can tap out and play Hazezon, and then say you sack Hazezon, the next turn you get all of your tokens, and your tokens couldn't have been wrathed away during any one of your opponent's turns. You get to do something with your tokens on your turn. So that's why I think Hazezon Tamar is really good. Start off the lands. High Market, this is usually how you sacrifice Hazezon. A lot of times if you're going to be able to tutor for lands, this is one of the first lands you go get. As long as you sack Hazezon before you get his tokens, the tokens just come into play and they have to actually deal with them instead of just killing Hazezon. Ancient Tomb is a really good ramp. Reliquary Tower probably should be in most EDH decks. Springjack Pasture, this is my land that actually produces tokens. They're really good for, say you have Skull Clamp in play, start clamping them away. Tectonic Edge, this is my only land that destroys lands in the deck. It's good to have one. You don't need to have Strip Mine or Wasteland or any of the really expensive ones. You just need to have something that gets the job done, and that's what this does. You got the mana fixers. Vesuva is really good. A lot of times your opponents will have really good lands like, say, Maze of Ith or anything like that. And also what you can do is Prismatic Omen Valakut is in the deck. And a lot of times what you'll do is this will be your second Valakut. And things can get really nutty once you have that going. It's got your basics. A lot of times this deck is also a combo deck. In terms of, a lot of times you'll be attacking players for lethal with all-in-one Alpha Strike on your turn once you get your tokens. You'll untap, get your tokens, and swing. And there is a lot of combo in it, though. There's the two combos in the deck. I'll probably get into it a little bit later, but one of them deals with tokens and the other one doesn't. The one that deals with tokens is, he also deals with Hazezon as well. Hazezon's ability, when he leaves play, all Sand Warriors are removed from game. There's a card in the deck called, what's it called? I don't know what it's called. It's a 1-mana cost instant that makes all your creatures changelings, but it also targets players, so what you can do is you can target them and make all their creatures Sand Warriors and then sack Hazezon and they're all removed from game. I want to stop on these lands. These lands, when you play Primeval Titan, you'll usually get these lands because they're so easy to achieve their conditions, and it's a good source of playing some really expensive spells in the deck. Emeria also goes along with the Prismatic Omen package. Also, you can technically copy this with Vesuva and have two Emerias going. I've had that happen before. Alright, here's your haste effects in the deck. This is really important. There's not that many cards that you play before Hazezon, because I don't really like having to make sure something lives till your next turn. So that's why Hazezon's so good, I think better than Rith, because you can play Hazezon, get your tokens at your next turn, and then play spells that affect the tokens. And you have nothing in play the turn before you get the tokens, so they can't do anything to it until you untap. So Bushwhacker, really cheap. He's a creature. I used to actually have a Ranger package in the deck that I took out because I cut almost all of the creatures that he could come tutor, but he tutored this. He's actually really good. A lot of times you only need to give your creatures 1 or 2 more power, and then they're lethal. So he's really good. Sarkhanval, he also can give everything haste, but another thing that's really relevant is, say someone plays Iona, naming white. You can play Sarkhanval, take Iona, and then sacrifice her, so that you can play some of your removal spells. So that's also relevant. Also, Doubling Season is in the deck, and so I have done this also, where you have Double Season play, you play Sarkhanval and Ultimate, and you get a token army that way. Flamekin Zealot's really good. He's a 2/2, which matters because Reveler can return him. He also is an elemental, and the other 1-drop that I kept in the deck for my Ranger package was Flamekin Harbinger. Flamekin Harbinger can go get this guy, and just having a 2/2 that can give everything +1/+1 off of Revelark is really, really, really good. Lovisa Coldeyes. Lovisa Coldeyes also, she gives your guys a huge bonus. Oftentimes, if you need a Lord effect and you have a creature tutor, she's one of the ones to go get because she gives all your guys haste and +2/+2, which is huge. Oftentimes on her own, she's lethal, plus your token army. So, she's really, really, really good. Avenger of Zendikar is kind of like your second Hazezon. Also, if you want to have a creature that comes into play and gets you tokens immediately, this is your go-to guy. And he also can get really, really insane. Although a lot of times the +1/+1 counters doesn't matter because you're playing cards like Sarkinval or Flamekin Harbinger to go get Flamekin Zealot that can pump your dudes. You don't really have that many +1/+1 counters put on your guys. Also, though, I have had this happen before, which is insane. Warp World is also in the deck, and if you Warp World into this guy, someone is dead. Dragon Broodmother, she's a really good defensive card. I wanted a defensive card in the deck, and she's really good at producing blockers. Also, you can produce some really good big guys with her, but oftentimes she dies and their tokens die before the big guys actually get to attack if you get big guys, so oftentimes you just leave them as little dudes, and you can kind of force field yourself in that way if things aren't going very well on the board. Genesis is just really good recursion. Same thing with Eternal Witness. Crib Swap. The reason why I have Crib Swap, because this is Naya, and I like to tutor stuff throughout my library. I don't play swords, I don't play path, I don't play anything that, any type of removal that I can't really tutor for, with the exception of one card. The reason is I really want to be able to have access to my removal. And I can oftentimes tutor for Flamekin Harbinger and go get this if I need spot removal early. And I usually have this in my hand by turn 5 every game if I want it. And so it's just really, really good instant speed removal, spot removal that is really good against generals and allows you to kind of fight back a little bit because there's not really that great a tutor in Naya. Duplicant, also just really good removal, creature removal. He's also really easy to recur. Again, the 2 power comes into play because Revelar can return him. And so that's really, really important. And so he's just a really, really good creature overall. Also, he combos with Kiki-Jiki really well, which is in the deck. I have evoked Revelar, returning Duplicant, Kiki-Jiki, and copied Duplicant. It's just a really, really good synergistic card with the rest of the deck. Master of the Wild Hunt, he kind of combos with a couple of the cards in the deck. He can be used as removal just with his 2/2 wolves, and he can be a threat on his own because he comes down so early. And a lot of times he can kill little utility creatures in the very beginning by himself. But there's also Mirror Entity in the deck that can make all my creatures wolves if I really want to kill something. There's also the other card that I'll get to that can make all my creatures changelings and make all of them wolves that way. And that way I can shoot stuff with that as well. So I don't actually have to have that many wolves in play for him to be relevant because I can make my creatures all wolves. Sunblast Angel is my Wrath effect that I can tutor. Oftentimes you can get him with this card. End step, you either Worldly Tutor or Latimer's Call for this gal, and she'll usually take care of the problems you're having on board. Unfortunately, yeah, you do have to take the damage, but it's better than having to count on drawing it. Planar Cleansing is my one removal spell that I can't really tutor for. However, it's really good to be always drawing live, and it's also really good just reset. And just a really good thing on general to have. It could be O-Stone, and I might make it O-Stone, but right now this has been working out pretty good. Oblivion Ring, also this is another card Naya can tutor for enchantments pretty easily, and this is really good removal for anything that's giving you problems. And it's just an insane card. It should be probably most Naya decks because it's easily tutored and answers basically anything. Fury Stoke Giant, this guy also combos well with tokens. You can just kill people. Doesn't matter if they have blockers. Also, he's another Wrath effect that you can tutor for in a sense. Because you give all your guys haste, you play this guy, and you just kill every creature in play. So he's really, really good as well. Stoneforge Mystic, she's one of my tutors. There's a couple really, really good equipment in the deck that you want to have, and she goes and gets them. First up is Skull Clamp. Obviously this is nuts in a token deck. You untap the Hazezon, usually you'll have 7 to 9 tokens the first time you play Hazezon. And that's almost 20 cards that you can draw off Skull Clamp, which is incredibly insane. So, obviously, just broken. Sword of Light and Shadow just gives you access to more recursion. Just another really good tutor target for Stoneforge Mystic. Acidic Slime, just a really good answer. Terraston's a really good answer to just problematic permanence in general. Just amazing green card. Prismatic Omen combos well with Valakut and Ameria. I've done a lot of damage with Valakut with Prismatic Omen in play. I mean, it's good and extended, and man, it's just a really good combo in EDH too. Scapeshift can be used as a land tutor. It can also be used as a combo card with Valakut if you have Prismatic Omen in play. And you really want to get high market so that you have a sack outlet, and so this is what allows you to do that. Tooth and Nail. Tooth and Nail is a really powerful card. Probably should be in most decks. Well, oftentimes the packages that you'll get with Tooth and Nail will be, say, when you untap with the Hazezon tokens, you'll go get a Lovisa Coldeyes, and I also have Realm Razor in the deck. So you'll have 3 power tokens, and you'll remove all lands from the game. And so you'll just beat people down while they have no lands. Just a really powerful effect. Also, you can just Tooth and Nail for haste effects if you have tokens, or say Kiki-Jiki and Primeval Titan. I've actually tutored that for quite a few times. So that's also a really good package to go get. Enlightened Tutor, another tutor target, really good. Hibernation's End is another card that I've added. It's just added recently. It's just really good tutor. Unfortunately, it is an upkeep effect, so it can be killed. Oftentimes, you'll only get maybe 1 or 2 creatures out of it. But some of your good early drops, like Fenton Harbinger and Stoneforge Mystic, are so good that oftentimes it's just worth it for that. Rulu Tutor, obviously really good. Idyllic Tutor almost always gets Soul Ring. Quarter Calling is really good with tokens, obviously. Oftentimes you'll go get Regal Force, or you'll go get Skull Mulcher and eat all your tokens, and usually it just is a gigantic draw spell. Flameskin Harbinger, like I said, this is probably one of the best tutors in the deck. You can go get Spot Removal, it can go get all sorts of different things. The deck can go get tokens, can go get card draw, can go get recursion. Amazing tutor. I actually have had it be relevant that it's put on top so that cards or players that have decks that wipe your hand cannot get rid of the card on top of your library, then you get to actually play it, which is really nice. Letterman Call, just a really good tutor. Now the Reliquary is your go-to land tutor. She's really good. Especially once you have Prismatic Omen in play, you can just start sacking whatever lands you want to go get the lands you want. And amazing card. Oftentimes also she'll be huge if you don't want to use her ability and you just want to beat them down. So, just really good card. Survival Squee package. Amazing thing. Probably every red-green deck should be playing this package. It's so powerful, it's ridiculous. So, not much more to say about that. Sky Shard Claim, also another amazing ramp spell. Reap and Sow. This, more oftentimes, actually is used to destroy problematic lands, and then it gets you a land instead of searching for a land. Although, you really do want high market, but if you draw this late game, it's usually just used as a 4-mana Stone Rain. Primeval Titan, he's nuts. For those of you that can't read this is Earthcraft. It does combo with Squirrel Nest, however, there's something to be said about you don't really need to break broken cards. It's kind of a rule in EDH. If you have a really powerful card, you don't need to put in cards that combo really well with it, because they'll probably combo really well with a lot of things. This thing is just absolutely insane. Makes all of your Hazezon tokens obviously just tap for mana. Then you can use those to play. I've used those to play Avenger of Zendikar, then use those tokens to play Kiki-Jiki, copying Avenger of Zendikar, and you have so much mana. You can do almost anything you want in the turn. It almost feels like you're comboing off on that turn, even if you don't actually do a infinite combo or anything like that. You can play so many things on your turn. It's ridiculous. So this is just amazing card and tokens. And also, because with the Hazezon tokens, you untap, you get the tokens. You don't have to actually have the tokens have haste with this card, which is also what makes it amazing. You have My Elder, just really good value card early on. Hazezon needs a lot of lands in play, and he goes and gets those lands. Garruk, I've played Garruk only a few times with this deck. I just don't draw it that often, but a lot of times what will happen is you'll have Doubling Season in play, you play this guy and Overrun. or produce a bunch of 3/3s. And the untapping lands is really a good early game, although I haven't actually drawn him early game. Psalms from Rockroom, he's just really good ramp and value. Vexing Shusher, this is your guy to go to if you're playing against control decks. He just kind of shuts them down unless they have spot removal, but oftentimes what you'll do is Hazezon has so much ramp that you'll ramp up. Usually they don't count on those spells. Get tons of lands into play, then you play this guy, and then you're free to play whatever you want on the turn you want to play it. So he's really, really good to get at that point. Realm Razor, a lot of times what you do is you get this guy off Tooth and Nail. That's mostly it. What he can do is that you just get tons of power worth of tokens and then remove all lands from the game and basically go around killing everyone. It is possible to sack him and remove all the lands from the game with his ability on the stack and just move him permanently, although I don't think that would be that great. One of the nice things about him is the fact that you can get your lands back later if your token army doesn't actually work out. So, very powerful card, and it is nice that the lands can come back if you need to. Doubling Season, this is the only card I play in the deck that I play before I play Hazezon because it's so powerful. Oftentimes if you play a card and then you play your general that's really good with it, some people will just destroy the card and then you can't really do with it. That's why Hazezon's so good, is you get to untap, have all of your untapped mana and the tokens in the same turn, and that's why I think he's really good. And so this, although I do have this because it's just ridiculously powerful. It's ridiculously powerful with Hazezon, but it's also ridiculously powerful with Planeswalkers and really anything in the deck that produces tokens, so it's just absolutely insane. So that's why it's in there. Warp World. This card's amazingly fun, and I can't tell you how much fun. I've Warp Worlded for like over 50 permanents before, and when you're putting over half your deck into play with this card, it's absolutely insane. And it also fucks up a lot of other decks. A lot of blue or decks or other decks will be will not be able to get that many permanents because they'll be playing a lot of sorceries and instants. So just really, really, really good card for a token deck. Also, almost all of your cards in the deck are permanents, and it's just amazingly, amazingly powerful. Nature's Will. Sword of Feast and Famine is in Standard right now, and people are amazed at how powerful that card is. Well, this is kind of like the original Sword of Feast and Famine. And luckily, you don't actually have to, with this card, you don't actually have to have that one guy connect. Anyone can connect, and then it also taps their land, so it's just an amazing card against control if you can land it. And just a really, really, really powerful card. Jiki, there's a lot of really powerful creatures in the deck. He makes copies of them. It's really good. 7 Libraries, an enchantment, so it can be tutored if you don't have that great of a hand, and it can just draw you a bunch of cards if you need be. So it's really, really good. I'm going to start doing some of the cards that really kind of affect tokens and card drawing. This obviously, I've drawn over 20 cards consistently with this card. A lot of times, since there's not that great a tutor in Naya, you can just use these really powerful draw spells to get the cards you want, and it can draw just massive amounts of cards at once, which is really nice. Chandra Blaze, I talked about this with my Karthus deck. She's amazing. She combos with Squee to do 4 damage to stuff, which can be relevant, although most of the time she has one ability, and that ability is to draw 3 cards. With a lot of mana in this deck, you can easily play out your hand, then play her, refill your hand, and then people don't really care that much, especially once they discarded her hand. What a lot of times they'll do is they'll just play out the cards that they just drew with her, and then hope you just make her draw again. So it's just really, really good. Regal Force, amazing, amazing. He doesn't actually kill your tokens like Skull Mulcher, and he just gets you tons and tons of cards, which is really, really nice. Skull Mulcher, unfortunately, does eat your tokens, but again, you draw tons of cards. Collective Unconscious, again, draw tons of cards with tokens, absolutely insanely powerful. Alright, here's the combos of the deck. The Guiltleaf Archdruid is in the deck because I have Shields of Velis Veil. That was that card that makes all my creatures changelings. And I have Mirror Entity. And what you do is you untap, get your tokens, play Guiltleaf Archdruid, play either Mirror Entity or Shields of Velis Veil, and then you just start taking people's lands. It basically is target player loses when you start doing that. And it's just really, really powerful. Again, I'd say Shield of Velis Veil, because when Hazezon leaves play, all Sand Warriors are removed from game. you can target your opponent and then sack Hazezon and then remove their field from the game. So it's kind of a tutorable Wrath effect because Flamekin Harbinger can also go and get this spell, which is also insane. So that's really nice. And then these cards are in the deck. These cards are also, all 4 of these cards are really good. Revlark, Goblin Bombardment, Greater Gargadon, and Karmic Guide. All of these are really, really, really insanely powerful cards, but they also combo really well. Greater Gargadon doesn't combo that well. A lot of times you'll have Flamekin Zealot, and then you'll recur Revlark and Karmic Guide in an infinite amount of times, and get infinite power, toughness guys. Infinite power and toughness guys with haste, and then just kill your opponent. So he's alright. He's also really good for sacking Hazezon. That's why he's in the deck. And then with these, you can kind of just machine gun your opponent dead with Goblin Bombardment. It does 1 damage, and you can sack Revlark and Karmic Guide, reanimate each other, and it's just insanely powerful combo. And all 3 of these cards are also insanely good by themselves. So it's kind of a combo deck, and it's also kind of an aggro deck, and there it is. Thanks for watching CMDR decks, and please subscribe and favorite.